Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. In March this year, I was delighted to attend an ecumenical service at St Paul's Anglican Church in Majesty in celebration of the Sapphire Jubilee of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and to recognise Her Majesty turning 90 last year. The service was attended by more than a couple of hundred people and included many of my parliamentary colleagues, members of the Diplomatic Corps, representatives from the Australian Defence Forces and many community groups and members of the public committed to demonstrating their support for our constitutional arrangements. It was particularly pleasing to have clergy from various denominations participating in the service and was a powerful demonstration of the unifying influence the Crown and, more particularly, Her Majesty our Queen continues to have over the Australian community. A special highlight was the sermon delivered by the Archbishop Christopher Prowse from the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Canberra and Goulburn. In the Archbishop's sermon, he spoke of Her Majesty's inspired leadership as being a symbol of unity in a polarised world and the qualities she has demonstrated in service to her people. And I'd like to share with the Senate and for the Hansard the Archbishop's contribution, which was called A Symbol of Unity in a Polarised World, and I'd just like to take from two particular parts of his sermon. The first part, the Archbishop said the following: "In the first collect for today there is a prayer that seems particularly apt when applied to the qualities of Her Majesty. The collect gives thanks to God, to our Sovereign Queen Elizabeth, because God has given her gifts of faith in your promises and hope for the future and love of her people. This, I think, is the first quality of extraordinary leadership that Her Majesty has given us, living out faith, hope and love. In doing this, she is living out the baptism that she has given in service to her people. Faith, hope and love are described as three theological virtues. They are given as gifts from God. They dispose us to do the good. For those who live out these theological virtues of faith, hope and charity, God gives them knowledge of their origins, their motives and their objectives. For such a long period of time, we can see Her Majesty has used these baptismal gifts of faith, hope and love in great service. For the virtuous way that she has lived out her baptismal calling, we thank God. It is expressed in her tremendous continuous service over so many years." Importantly for me, the Archbishop went on to describe another important quality. He went on to talk about one of the other qualities. Another quality that comes to mind, the Archbishop said, on this important anniversary today of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II is that she is a symbol of unity in a very polarised world. To a certain degree, I find Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, for so many of us, has symbolically held the Commonwealth together. With her many gifts, she has been able to embrace so many disparate cultures and societies and to assure them that ultimately we must remain united as a global village in a very polarised world. Whether this has happened in reality, others may comment. However, I'm referring to her symbolic presence, which is so unifying, the Archbishop went on to say. In closing, I'd just like to reflect briefly and extend my very warm thanks and gratitude to the Venerable Dr. Brian Douglas, the Rector of St Paul's, for his assistance, guidance and counsel in organising the service, which was a tremendously gracious way to acknowledge Her Majesty's devotion to public service above self. In closing, though, may I make one final remark. In recent days, we've learnt that His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh has decided that he will no longer carry out his public engagements from the autumn of this year. In taking this decision, he's reflected clearly and can be comforted by his tremendous service. I'm sure I speak on behalf of all Australians when I extend our very best wishes and our sincerest acknowledgement and recognition of his tremendous service to his various roles, but most importantly, his lifelong service and public and private commitment to Her Majesty the Queen.